Welcome to episode number 2 of our weekly Q&A. I'm saying weekly. Hopefully I can keep this up weekly. But I do want to get back to you guys with your questions in a timely manner because I know when you've got a question you need to get an answer. And so that's why we're doing this on YouTube. We figure we can get a lot more information, or I figure, who's we? I figure I can get a lot more information out to you in a more timely manner this way. So please subscribe to our channel. And we'll be posting this also on the blog, villagegreenetwork.com. And you can also sign up for our newsletter there and get updates if you prefer that. But all right, today's questions, let's get right into them. And again, if you have questions, post them in the comments. Please try to refrain from medical questions. I'm not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV. I don't know the answers to a lot of those questions, and I don't want the liability for answering those kind of questions. So I do recommend that you find a good naturopath or a doctor that you feel comfortable with, that you can ask those kinds of questions. But you're certainly welcome to ask questions about health and food and healthy living. I will do my best to answer. And if I don't know the answer, I will ask you in the comments to please share down below, and then people can get answers that way too, because we have a great community of people who lots of great answers for your questions. All right, Jen asks, what materials should one build raised beds or growing periods out of? So this is a gardening question. I know pressure treated lumber can't be good, so what low cost options are there? I recently, last year, ripped out my front yard, and in some states, I didn't know this at the time, but apparently you can get refunds or rebates from the government for doing that, for taking out your front lawn. We have a drought in California, so that's why they're doing it. Of course, I did it, and I didn't know, and I didn't get the money, but if you're in California or some of these other states, I think Nevada is one, you can actually get money back for doing that. So anyhow, what I did was in the front yard, and I'll do a tour of this sometime on YouTube, I put in, I think about like 3 or 4 raised beds in the front yard instead of grass. So it's awesome. So as far as like what kind of lumber to use, you can build your own, and there's lots of YouTube videos online showing you how to do it. You really want to look for untreated lumber. So yeah, just avoid the pressure treated lumber and look for untreated lumber. You can follow one of those YouTube videos on how to do it. Just search on YouTube for how to do it, and somebody will walk you through. Now I'm not handy, so I didn't want to try to build it myself. Anything with a hammer and drills and all that, I just don't want to get into that. And I knew that the time I would spend trying to learn how to do it and try to do it, it would not be worth it for me. So what I did was I bought at Home Depot, but there's other hardware stores that have these. You could also just Google. In fact, maybe I'll put a link down below to show you the ones that I got. You can buy these kind of like Tinker Toy kits where you just literally set it up, and it's so easy. It didn't take me any time at all to set up my raised bed. So I just had to, find a place to do it and set it up. Now I've got a really good trick so that you don't have to do a lot of tilling, pulling up your, if you are going to rip up your lawn, or you just got like really hard dirt, that you haven't grown anything on, then I really recommend you buy this book. I'm going to put the link below, called Lasagna Gardening. It is one of the best books I've ever read. I've been using it for years now, probably over a decade, with my gardening, and it produces amazing results. You will get amazing plants and incredible yields. I get like the most unbelievable tomatoes, and I've got watermelons growing in my front yard right now. So lasagna gardening, and what the premise is that you really don't need to dig at all. You don't need to dig, spend all the time digging, which is really the hard work of gardening. all you have to do is take, she explains it all in the book, is to take compostable materials like leaves. So when you collect a lot of leaves in your yard, you can use straw bale, you can use compost, you can use, she recommends all these different ones. And then what you do is you start with some wet cardboard. And so you just hose it down or put it in water. And then it's like old cardboard boxes that you get from Amazon or something. Put those out right directly on the grass or on the hard soil that you need to, rebuild. And then put that out, and then you layer these compostable materials like lasagna. That's why it's lasagna gardening. And then you just plant right into it. And so what you can do is put your raised bed down wherever you want it, right on the grass, and then this is what I did, you put your cardboard, your wet cardboard, soaking wet cardboard right in there, and then start layering it. And you layer it up pretty high. It tells you how to do it in the book. And then plant right in. And you wouldn't believe the yields I'm getting. Just fantastic. And it's really so, so, so easy. So, like I said, you can either build your own or you can do it this way, my easy way, my lazy way. Oh, I also want to add, if you don't want to use untreated lumber, there's other things you could use. You could use rock. You could use bricks or some kind of pavers. You could also just use soil. I personally like the look of, having the little Tinker Toy kind of lumber, raised beds. And then the other thing I would say is what I did, and I recommend, is you could put like gravel around them, You could have grass too. If you want to just leave your grass, that works as well. So good luck, Jen. I hope that this next year you will be doing a lot of growing food at home. That is, wow, that took me almost 10 minutes to say all that. I'm going to close this one and start on the next one. Again, if you've got questions for me, I would love to answer your questions. So please just comment below or comment on the villagegreennetwork.com. We'll pull those questions and we will answer for you next week.